I'm going to start this video by making a claim you might not agree with. I think swashbucklers are the worst class at level 70. You might be thinking, what am I talking about? Yes, they're arguably the best class for PvP, but only 5 people play PvP. Yes, swashbucklers are, in my opinion, the best class to play through Pirate as a first-timer. However, if you want to farm something and you're in team up, what's the one class you definitely don't want to see queue with you? A swashbuckler. From weaker chains than bucks, completely getting countered by first strike 3, and hiding turn 1 and forcing your teammates to tank the enemy for you, it's in my opinion the worst class to play with once you reach Valencia Part 2. Unlike Wiz, Pirate in my opinion has a lot more straightforward archetype classes that you see in other games as well. Musketeers are the marksman class, Buccaneers are the skirmisher class, Privateers the support class, Witch Doctors of course the useless class, I mean mage class. Swashbucklers are designed to be the assassin class, patiently waiting to strike when enemies are low, going in quickly to finish the job, and escaping while taking little to no damage in the process. Unfortunately, I don't think that archetype is fulfilled in the current state of Pirate 101. Most swashbucklers at level 70 just default to chain-heavy hybrid style with shooty stabby weapons, relying on Swash's high dodge to trigger Riposte, Relentless, and Bladestorm chains. Now I do want to make this clear, I think Hybrid Swash is a fine build, probably around like A tier, with Hybrid being the main style that all swashbucklers default to at max level. The purpose of this video is to shed some light into ways the swashbuckler class could be buffed if we happen to see a level cap in the new update, watch my last video if you haven't, while also preserving that hybrid style of play. I have a proposal on a new power given to swashbucklers at level 75. I call this power Perfect Execution. What this power does is it will teleport you to a chosen enemy on the battlefield, and you will deal damage of that to an assassin strike. This will essentially be similar to Cloak and Dagger, where Cloak is a backstep into hide, but this power is a combination of an assassin strike and shadow step, so no new animations need to be made. Now you might say, this sounds rather mediocre at first, but there are 2 special effects as well built in. The first is you will also enter what's called execution mode for 1 turn. If the enemy is below a certain threshold, I'll use 15% health threshold as a base, or if the power itself deals the finishing blow, you will perform an execution on the target. Not only that, but you will teleport to a random target afterwards and repeat. If you execute once more, the spell repeats until you do not land an execution on an enemy. In other words, if in a perfect scenario, you could use the perfect execution and one by one wipe the entire board. The second effect I want this power to have is that this power has priority over moves such as First Strike and Quick Draw to guarantee the attack and possible executions. Apparently it is possible to code priority moves in the game without changing too much. That way, the class isn't completely countered by 3 total epic traits, and has a better identity of the assassin class. Now, I also have to admit, this power seems absolutely broken. Sure. So to balance it out, there is one condition that needs to be met. Earlier, I mentioned that I don't think the Hybrid Swash build is bad. I even went as far as to say it's around A tier. This power can only be used if you are using a pure stabby weapon. This new power is meant to be the bread and butter for pure stabby swashbucklers. My idea on how to play this style would go something like this. Turn 1, hide. Turn 2, use some type of buff like Grand Shadow Dance or an agility boost to augment yourself. Turn 3, use perfect execution on the lowest health target on the battlefield and begin the wipe. I think having 2 viable builds is super healthy for the game. You can play chain heavy hybrid swash for some fights, and for others you can play the true assassin style pure stabby build and wait patiently to strike and clear the board. Keep in mind that yes, if you chain with a Relentless or Bladestorm, the resets can also apply. I also don't think it's as broken as it seems because the style does have to present itself in such a way where multiple executions can even occur. If the enemies only have 1 low health target, the damage output won't be as high as expected. Not only that, but now you're in the center of the enemy, this will be a feast or famine type of playstyle. But I think that embodies the identity of the assassin archetype. Go in when enemies are low, strike and finish off enemies, and escape without taking a lick of damage. And I also don't think it will essentially just break Swash as a whole, since you can only use this with a pure Stabby weapon. Meanwhile, Bucks are running around with Tide 5 bopping people over the head with 1200 damage attacks. As we approach new levels with new content, there needs to be more ways to play the game, or it will start to feel stale. I think the chain style of play for every class is great and very strong, but I don't like that every class seemingly defaults to it or AoE spamming. Having new builds keeps the game fresh and enjoyable. Swash is my original class. I love this class. It even has the Ninja Pig companion on it. It sucks that nowadays I just prefer to play my Privy or Buck because they just outclass Swash. One day I hope the great glory of Swashbucklers can be seen again.